It, it may simply be my imagination, but Lena has been rather brusque with me of late. You don't suppose she's still upset over that mishap with the salmon fillet, do you? Is that side quest or something? I don't recall anything about a salmon fillet. Never have I seen such a repository of knowledge, a stark reminder what little we truly know of the world. But yeah, as I was saying, that's got to be nuts to be like a foremost researcher in a field and then get research done by a whole nother civilization from a whole nother world and just be like, whoa, like this just, at least doubled the amount of like research, or whatever. That's just got to be a trip. Upon white Orosite's crystalline foundation, we have built not a prison, but of refuge for the soul. Would that Moonbrita were here to see the wonders inspired by her research. Yeah, that's actually something that kind of, I don't know, that confused me, but I think my mind was, I don't know if I was tired at the time and just, harder to keep focused or what, but when they were talking about whatever, previous quests, they were talking about needing either Graha's blood or something akin to his blood to be able to hold or transfer whatever, the soul and mind into the crystals. It felt like an information dump that like I couldn't keep up with or whatever. And I think I meant to go back and rewatch it, but I forgot to, and then get to hear a reminder of it. But because all I can really remember is like, okay, the white Orosite isn't enough. I think it's the white Orosite is enough to like hold the soul, but not the mind. And then this new version of the white Orosite is enough to hold the soul and the mind, but it's not what's necessary to actually be able to transfer both of those into the Orosite. And then that's what we need, the blood as well. And I don't remember exactly how they described his whole blood and everything before, because I don't recall him having like what about his blood. Although I think maybe they did mention him being able to like see memories of his bloodline or something. I probably just need to actually go back and rewatch that cutscene. To think we will not only have Xenos to contend with once we return, but a new Ultima weapon as well. Why must all of our enemies insist on returning from their graves? Okay, I was just double checking to make sure I talked to Urion J, because I don't actually remember what he said. Seeking counsel. Alphino is eager to assist Captain Lena. Yeah, Lena's another one that I hope we don't abandon. We come back to. And, I mean, the writers for this game are really good about going back to, not older characters, but, characters that were kind of more mainstays in previous expansions and stuff. So, again, Reen, Gaia, and Lena, I want to see more of. I must confess, while I enjoy my fair share of scholarly research, it will be good to step outside for a spot of fresh air. Now then, shall we go and speak with Lena? Indeed. But yeah, I don't know what it is necessarily about Lena, because it's not like we get a whole bunch of character development. Like, we don't really know anything about her. Okay, well, we know she was orphaned and then raised by Graha. But other than that, we just know she's like the captain of the guard or whatever. And, you know, we don't know that much beyond that. But I think it's just what we've seen of her in the moment. You know, what she says, what she does just makes her a very likable character. And she's a cute bunny girl, so... I suggest we hurry. Lena does not strike me as one who enjoys being made to wait. We have little time, so I'll be brief. A Sin Eater has been sighted in Lakeland, and I ask for your assistance in slaying it. A Sin Eater? I had heard some few yet remained after the night had returned, but perhaps we should call the others. That will not be necessary. It is only a single Sin Eater. A simple task for our guard, I should think. That said, I believe fighting alongside the Warrior of Darkness would be a valuable experience for them. Peace can lead to complacency, and they gain nothing from an easy victory. But you do not underestimate your foes, however harmless they may seem. My men would do well to learn from your example. Let's be about it then. Me? Why not Alphino? Well, I mean, it's pretty clear they want, like, the Warrior of Darkness. I think all the Scions here are considered the Warriors of Darkness, but I think everybody knows who, you know, who the captain of the Warriors of Darkness are, or is. Let's be about it then. Excellent. Then let us make for Fort Job. One thing that I think is really cool, and I think I thought about at some point last night, was how I had mentioned before how them not having Sin Eaters, I think I mentioned this before, how them not having Sin Eaters in the wild kind of adds to their dangerousness or whatever. You know, it doesn't make them overworld trash, for the lack of a better term. And then a secondary, I think, point to that or whatever is the fact that once, or like now in the state that we're in, that we have defeated all the Light Wardens and the light is gone, the night is back, there's not Sin Eaters still just wandering the world, you know. So it feels like, okay, we've done that, we've finished that, we've beaten them. Where in other games, and maybe even earlier parts of Final Fantasy, I can't think of anything right now, but that may not be the case, and there's a disconnect between what the story is telling you and what you're actually seeing in the world. So I just think it was a smart move for them to handle the Sin Eaters as they did. The Sin Eaters that remain no longer have a leader to guide them, but they are no less dangerous. They cannot be suffered to live. If you would wait here a moment, I will gather the others. You may not remember, but you have met these soldiers once before, though only in passing. Long have they awaited the opportunity to fight at your side. I was at death's door that day after the Sin Eaters' attack. If you and yours hadn't come along, I'd have likely stepped through, and I wouldn't have been alone. Your courage and selflessness is something we all aspire to. I too was there that terrible day. My friend was transformed into a Sin Eater before my very eyes, and I had no choice but to cut her down. The thought of returning to the field, of holding a blade again, it filled me with dread. But that is no way to honor her or my comrades, and so I have returned. I swear I will not let you or anyone else down from this day forward. A pleasure to meet you, miss, truly. It seems like only yesterday I watched as you took flight astride an Amaro to go and save the Oracle. Strange to think the Yomoran soldiers we once locked blades with are now on our side, but we will do our utmost to keep the peace here in Lakeland. We seem to be missing one. My apologies, Captain Lena. An elderly gentleman asked that I escort him to Clearmelt. It took longer than I anticipated. I'll not begrudge you your desire to keep those in, or to help those in need, but a soldier must be punctual, especially when we play host to honored guests. I mean, to me, it's like, no, like, help people out, as opposed to just, you know, rolling out a red carpet for me. It won't happen again. The name's Thaler. I'm sure you don't remember, but we met once before in the infirmary. Right. I asked you to deliver a message to the Exarch and the Warrior of Darkness. Little did I know I was already talking to her. Don't give up. Don't give in. I keep those words close to my heart, and the boundless, beautiful skies above serve as a reminder of their importance. My friend got to see the knight's return shortly before he passed. He left this world with a smile, satisfied with a glimpse of what was to come. But there are countless others who weren't so fortunate. They gave their lives for the promise of a future they'll never know, and so it falls to us to do everything we can to fulfill that promise. No matter what happens, we won't give up. We won't give in. Your heroism has inspired all of our guardsmen in much the same manner. Our scouts at the northern staging point have not had the pleasure of meeting you in person. Let us not keep them waiting. See, now this is an example of where I was talking last night about, you know, it's nice that they, you know, don't just like save a town or whatever and then leave it. They go back to it and show you how, you know, essentially the rebuilding is going or whatever. And then like in a case like this, it's, you know, in the same vein, but is also reintroducing you to minor characters that you've interacted with and kind of making them a little less minor. And I think that all of that helps to flesh out the world and make it a lived-in world, which is interesting. And it makes me think of why I think it's so important that people play through the story. You know, people are like, oh, you know, story in an MMO is not really my thing. Like, I'm just here for this, that, or the next thing. And I mean, fair enough. But at the same time, you know, don't complain about the world not being fleshed out or feel like it's alive. You know, because, I mean, you've passed up a huge portion of what makes the world a living world. And though you may not see like new and interesting things constantly going on in the world as you go around doing your other things. I think knowing the story, knowing the characters, you can imagine what they're up to in the same way you can imagine what your friends are up to right now, even though you're not with them. Yeah, so I mean, no surprise, I love the story. If I hadn't seen him with my own eyes, I'd have sworn it was you who killed that Sin Eater. Oh, right. This is, I was like, what is he talking about? But this is, because we saw, you know, Elidibus and Ardbert, at the end of 5.1, and this is what they're talking about. Or at least that's my guess. A pretty well-educated guess, but I could be wrong.
Did you slay this eater? Your orders were to await the main force before engaging.
No, Captain. It wasn't us, I swear it. A man came out of nowhere and cut it down before we knew what was happening.
By himself? Certainly it is no light warden, but nevertheless.
It's true. Felled it with a single swing of his axe, he did. I've never seen anything like it. So I says to him, "Who are you, the warrior of bleeding darkness?" And he says, "No, I'm a warrior of light." And that was it. Buggered off as quick as he came.
A warrior of light?
Why would someone go around calling himself that, though? It was those bastards who caused the flood. I mean, if you were going to pretend to be anyone, it'd be her, the warrior of darkness.
Eh? Oh, I didn't know. It's an honor.
Since the Eater is no longer a threat, our work here is done. Return to your posts.
I had hoped to fight at your side today. But I'll continue to follow your example, and may we meet again.
I apologize for the wasted journey. It seems I overestimated the threat. As for this warrior of light, I do not know who would be brazen enough to take that mantle for his own. Whatever it may once have meant, it is forever tainted by the association with the Flood. The Exarch told me the truth of Ardbert and his comrades' deeds, and I am aware they played some part in your own triumph. But to most, they are synonymous with the calamity that befell this world. Still, if this man is minded to destroy Sin Eaters, I may forgive him his unfortunate choice of alias. But that is neither here nor there. I thank you for accompanying me.
With that concluded, shall we return to the Crystarium? There is a proposal I should like to make.
Forgive me. There is one more thing. A personal concern of mine. I had hoped you might have a moment to speak privately.
Take your time. I shall go on ahead.
I was just thinking, I think one other thing that endears me to Lena is the voice actress. Just a great job, great, you know, tone and everything that I guess just fits the character. But I also think back to her performance during the Sin Eater attack on Lakeland. And there's one particular line where like there's like a break in her voice, or like a strain of pain or whatever, like emotional pain. And it's just how she delivered that. It just, like cuts me to the core. And I think it's just added to why I like her so much.
I will not mince words. This matter concerns the Exarch. Though his countenance belies his age, his demeanor never has. He has seen more than any man should, and grown ever more weary with time. But I see I give the wrong impression. While it is true he attempted to open a letter with a salmon fillet the other evening, we are not here because I suspect his mind is deteriorating. Nor do I believe him to be so maddeningly unconcerned by the prospect of his own death as he once was. Indeed, the opposite is true. It is for this reason that I seek your advice. Since he returned from the Tempest, the Exarch is not as he was. He seems a different man. A younger man. I know not the details of his research, but when I saw him at work recently, there was a glint in his eye that I had never seen before. He looked happy. It was as if he had peered into the future and for the first time found joy there. Though it gladdens me to see him thus, I wonder if I should not keep my distance. I fear that my presence will only anchor him to the past, remind him of all the pain that came before.
No. You're one of the good things that came before. You don't just wipe away all the good stuff from before. Anchors keep us where we have chosen to be. He's lost without you, and he misses you already. I mean, that line might be true. But I mean, the idea of that he's lost without you, while at the same time, is more than ready to go back to the source. But, he misses you already. I think his response, his response to her coming in and saying, "Oh, you can talk to me outside." I'm going to go with the first one. That's more in line with what I was saying.
Is that so? Then perhaps we might remain as we were. As we have always been. What a relief.
And she's like a daughter to him.
In that case, I will have to speak with him about the amount of time he is spending at work. This research is important, I know, but if he refuses to consider his own health, I will have to consider it for him.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just thinking not long ago, like within this stream, about their relationship. And clearly there's a love there, but like what type of love isn't it? But then I was thinking, well, wait a minute. Yeah, he basically raised her, which is, I think, the same type of thing that a lot of people get confused with Thancred and Minfilia. That, they're, like Thancred's in love with her romantically or whatever, where it's like, no, he helped raise her. He thinks of her as like a surrogate daughter or whatever. And again, so the same thing here, I think, with Graha and Lena. Thank you for watching this video. Tonight we finished up 5.2, and it was, I mean, as good as, you know, Shadowbringers is. It's just really good. And this one had really good reveals at the beginning and at the end of it. So yeah, it's so enjoyable, so good. There's really not much else that needs to be said. But yeah, I mean, we're coming up on the end. You know, only 3 more patches to go, kind of 3.5. But it's all been good, and I look forward to finishing this off, and then, of course, getting into Endwalker when that comes out in a few months. But as much as I enjoyed this, I hope you all have as well. And if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to come join me in whatever adventure I happen to be on, the link to my Twitch is in the description down below. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a good one.